Hey everyone, this is Clinton.
And this is Dalton.
And this is the AEW Wrestling Podcast.
So without further ado, let's get ready to podcast!
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the AEW Wrestling Podcast, where we talk about all wrestling from the past, present, and future. I am one of your co-hosts, Clinton. With me, as always, is Dalton, and a special guest with us again, Max.
So,
we are back with another AEW reaction, I guess that's what we would call it. Maybe a review, a recap. Yeah. So, we're talking about AEW All Out, which was the pay-per-view that took place as of recording last Sunday. What was the date?
The 4th?
It was the 4th.
Yeah, the 4th.
Yeah, the 4th. And then we're also going to talk about some of the recent news that happened after All Out. It's actually a little bit, I'd say, a little bit more impactful than what happened on the pay-per-view. Oh, kind of what happened like when we talked about Double or Nothing.
If you want impactful, just ask Nick Jackson.
Yeah, that's for sure. We'll get to that, but yes. It's kind of similar to kind of how Double or Nothing was when we talked about it, but in a sense of a little more real with a lot more lawsuits involved, maybe?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think it's a lot like it, except it's not all kayfabe, and this is...
Yeah.
Law enforcement's actually involved now, so...
Yeah. But let's get into it. So can we all say and maybe agree that All Out was even just a tad bit, it was better than Double or Nothing? We really did not like that pay-per-view.
It was still mid.
I'll say it's better than Double or Nothing. I hated Double or Nothing from the first match on the card.
Oh, of course. You know, just that pay-per-view was... I'd say that was the worst pay-per-view that AEW put on in general. That was the bottom of the list.
Yeah, they scraped the barrel with that one.
And that's worse than when they did the Exploding Death Match at Revolution.
What was that, Revolution 2020?
It was 2020, I think. Yeah.
No, it was 2021. It was the first pay-per-view of the year.
No, it could... Because, no, it... Did they have the live crowds at that point?
Yeah.
Because they had like a small crowd at that when they did that. Maybe it was 2021. I'm not quite sure. Kenny was already the champion, so...
Yeah. It was 2021.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, Kenny Omega was already the AEW World Champion, so it definitely makes sense that it was 2021. But yeah, I'd say this one was definitely better than Double or Nothing. Still not great. It's not as good as kind of the pay-per-views they put on before. I remember Revolution this year was okay. I remember that one was alright. And Forbidden Door, we didn't talk about that one, but that one was...
Mid.
It was okay, but it didn't have a lot of build-up to it.
Yeah.
Neither did this one. We'll get to that, but this one apparently people had said was probably the worst build-up for an AEW pay-per-view in general.
Yeah, everything was just like out there and like the blue, and like you just didn't know what to expect on it.
They just
build up was.
They just put stuff together.
I wonder why they had to compete with Clash of the Castle.
That was, and what's actually, let's take a second, let's talk about that.
By comparison, that was f***ing WrestleMania.
Yeah, so Clash of the Castle was the day before All Out, and it was in the UK, which is the first big stadium show, the first one since 1992 for WWE, the first one being SummerSlam 92, where the British Bulldog beat Bret Hart. But, so this one, yeah, like Dalton said, this was like WrestleMania sized. And I will say...
with less matches.
For what it's worth, other than the main event, that was a great pay-per-view. That was probably the best pay-per-view they put on of the year.
The finish of the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
The finish of the main event.
Because the thing was that, like, there was story built up to it. Not the best story build-up. I think the best build-up was Riddle versus Seth Rollins, because they brought some real life stuff, actually problems that they had in the past. And so it kind of felt a little bit more real. Drew and Roman was just kind of, I don't know, it felt like a old-timey setup. Kind of like a Hogan, I wouldn't say Andre, maybe like a Hogan Sergeant Slaughter
if you were
build
comparing
up.
Roman and
No,
Drew
no,
Hogan,
I'm not
Andre.
comparing that. But I'm saying like it felt like the big heel versus the big face. While, like, Gunther and Sheamus, which was the best match on the card, that was not that build-up. That was heel versus heel, with their groups kind of getting involved, too. And it was a very different build-up, but it was also really good. And that match was phenomenal. But it had build-up, and the matches were good. The only problem is that, obviously, because it was in the UK, everyone wanted to see Drew McIntyre win. And then Roman steals the win at the very end. And it kind of just ruined the night, I would say. And then, of course, Tyson Fury didn't make it any better by coming in and singing American Pie, which was awesome. Not. But that was still an overall good pay-per-view. This one was okay.
Mid.
But it wasn't, that's Dalton's word of the day, mid. But it wasn't great, but it was better. Now, the biggest problem, and I think we're going to head right on into that, is that it was like 15 matches with the pre-show.
It's just like no nothing. The card's just way too long.
But there's no build-up, and there's just... How long did this pay-per-view go for? It was definitely past midnight.
7 to probably midnight.
Maybe.
Well, 7 with pre-show.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
I mean... This went on for
Two
as long
roughly
as
almost
as long as a WrestleMania would probably go on.
It had as many
Like-
matches as a WrestleMania in total, or like a WrestleMania in the
both
past,
nights of WrestleMania.
and yet it was subpar compared to a WrestleMania.
Like the fact that I don't know if you remember this, Dawn. You might. Max wasn't here for this, but when we watched WrestleMania 35 back in 2019, that event went from like 6 to midnight. And it was the most draining event I had ever watched. And it wasn't, like, bad.
No, but half the matches
The matches were trash.
Yeah,
and
the pre-show start with Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins winning over FTR.
Yes.
You had the Rey Mysterio Samoa Joe match would lasted, 3 minutes?
I think it lasted...
Actually, it's 90 seconds.
Yeah, I think it was a minute and a half.
Somebody was hurt.
Bobby and Finn Balor was, 6 minutes long, but, it wasn't... To bury Bobby Lashley like that...
Roman, or not Roman. Roman and Drew was just...
No build-up.
Well...
Whatsoever.
Flash forward a couple years.
Not as good build-up.
You had Seth and Brock.
Which was probably the best opener they could have done for that show with what they had.
But then they just redid it with SummerSlam.
And then... the main event, which was the triple threat women's, Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, which ended in a botch. The match actually wasn't half bad. It wasn't great, but it ended in a botch. And it kind of ruined the moment for Becky, I'd say. But what I'm trying to get at is that one lasted probably 6, close to 7 hours with pre-show. Extremely draining. Not as fun as it should have been. With WrestleMania being 2 nights, at least you get 3 hours and 3 hours, roughly.
Yeah.
This is how every AEW pay-per-view is. Super draining every time, and at least WrestleMania 35 had 1 or 2, matches that stood out. These don't. The only one that really stood out was, for me, was Bryan Danielson and Chris Jericho. But even that match, when we get to it, was... What was the word, Dalton?
Mid.
Yeah,
it's not
thank
even
you.
special because they're having a rematch. So.
Exactly. But we're going to go straight down...
There's no point in having them have Jericho get put over.
Right. But we're going to go straight down the card. We're just kind of going to give our opinion and just talk about each match just a little. But we'll start off with the first match. Max...
First match was the AAA World Mixed Tag Team Championships, where you had champions Tay Mello and Sammy Guevara versus Ortiz and Ruby Soho.
Pre-show.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah. So first off, why is she Tay Mello now? Or Ty Mello? Why is it not Guevara?
I have no clue.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Probably because she's trying to not make the same mistake she made last time when she married somebody, took the name for wrestling, and then divorced him just to get with another guy.
That is the thing that anyone could talk about, because that whole situation rubs me the wrong way. Not a big fan of that situation, but I don't understand why she just didn't take Guevara, but I guess, be safe with it and just have her real last name. What can I say about this match?
No.
Someone else take it.
Sammy Guevara should not be in AEW. He should not be wrestling. He literally almost got Ruby Soho's neck broken.
Yes, that was
Him
a
and
horrible
Ty
match.
Mello. And then the ref, careless referee. I have not liked this referee ever. His shit on the indies, anything. I've
Do
not
we happen
liked him.
to know his name?
Bryce Remsburg,
Okay, he was with Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, right?
I believe.
And
so.
just like indie circuit in general. Like,
Okay.
he was the indie ref. I think he did for PWG. I think he did, maybe not PWG. Maybe GCW, the Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan.
Invisible Man versus Invisible
I
Stan
think he did that.
was actually incredible, though.
Yeah.
But he didn't have to check on anyone because they were fake people.
Yeah.
So,
Guevara has, I think it might have been like a torture rack position almost.
Oh, it was like a Death Valley driver.
Or a Death Valley driver
it
position.
looked like a forward Alabama slam. Like, it kind of looked weird. It looked like he was just...
It was like when Madcap Moss nearly broke his neck.
Yes,
And
that's exactly
And then
it.
Ty Mello kicks her, and he drops her right on her neck. Ref doesn't even check on her. Doesn't pay
Now-
attention to her, just pays attention to them.
Here's the situation with that, right?
Like, that could be, storyline, you're paying attention to them, but, like, she just landed on her neck.
Botches happen. It happens
Yeah, but with
sometimes.
Sammy Guevara,
But-
it's every single fucking match that he is in.
He could
He
have
has
checked
almost
on her.
killed Matt Hardy at least twice.
Those were very bad. Yeah, he landed on his head once on concrete.
He's almost killed himself in a match by botching with Scorpio Sky.
Yes, the ladder botch. Yeah, that one
Oh,
was...
yeah.
Nearly got Ruby Soho's neck broke. If I called her Ruby Riot, I think I might have. I apologize, but Ruby Soho.
He nearly broke his own back in a ladder match versus Cody.
Yes.
He broke his own relationship.
Yes. The thing is, whatever, but the fact that he proposed to her on, like...
On Dynamite.
On Dynamite, yeah. Or whatever show
Probably
it
off
was.
air. It was still on the show. When they were in Daly's place.
And then you go to now, and it's like...
Well, that turned out well.
Yeah, so, I mean... Yeah, and again... He could have checked on her, and he didn't.
And by the end of the
could have
match,
checked on her.
Yeah.
Ortiz was out of. I don't even understand what was up with him.
Someone could have checked, especially the ref. That's their job, and they didn't do
Like
it.
when I was listening to Cultaholic explain it like the day or so after that happened, it's like the ref wasn't looking at her, so he wouldn't have seen it. Like either
Right.
way, but when you have a crowd reaction like that, where she clearly like something happened, like come on,
Right.
your face is pointed towards the screen because he was looking at Mello.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been right there. Not to mention that Ruby Soho then got her nose broke, I'm pretty sure. If not, but it was definitely busted. There was blood.
Right.
And she was rushed to the back after that. Like, or no, it was Ortiz, right? Or was it
Ortiz.
Santana? Okay, Ortiz.
Santana's hurt right now.
yes.
Well, he's probably not going to stay with the company anyway.
Yeah, he don't get along with Ortiz
But
anymore.
Ortiz was just sitting there because that was supposed to be I think his reaction for the finish. He was just supposed to be shocked. She was rushed all the way to the back, so it was already not a good start for this match for this pay per view. At least for the pre-show. The pre-show didn't start well. The main card didn't start well at all. We'll get to that, but Sammy Guevara shouldn't be in the company.
Speaking of Sammy Guevara, and even he botched. Dalton had his opinion about his status in the company. They won the match. Honestly, I don't care that much because when
Well, it's also
in
not an
my
AEW
opinion-
title.
In my opinion, when an AEW show has a match for a non-AEW belt, excluding Ring of Honor because that's technically them,
It shouldn't matter.
it
shouldn't be
doesn't.
on
It doesn't matter.
They're not going to change the
They're not
title.
going to change, and if they are, it's like it's not going to happen. It's almost never going to happen. So there's no point to even mention it.
Except for New Japan.
Except for New Japan.
Because they did have the tag titles change.
No.
Oh.
AAA tag titles when the Bucks had him and FTR beat him for him.
That is right, that too.
That happened
Well-
on Dynamite one night.
Regardless,
That was still dumb.
thank you for bringing that up. I would have never remembered that.
I forgot
Yeah.
that. That
But
was
it
dumb.
really
though.
is-
Special occasions.
But it really doesn't matter. They shouldn't have other people's belts be defended on their show, especially not as frequent as they do.
Yes.
For God's sake, they defend.
An All-Atlantic title has barely been defended on Dynamite,
That's my
Rampage, whatever.
point. That's my point. That's their.
But you
belt.
have the freaking pure title all the time. this and that, instead of a title that you need to be building up.
Exactly. I mean, it's their belt, and they're defending other people's belts. Now,
You
don't get me
want a
wrong.
paper champion. Pac is a paper champion.
Like, don't get me wrong, though. They don't, like, AEW doesn't have a mixed tag belt, but at this point, we don't need any more belts for AEW. They just introduced a new one, and they're gonna bring it up in this.
You know they would make a mixed tag.
They
belt.
would, and mixed tag wrestling's fine, but, like, they don't need any more belts. They already have so
They
many.
just added a trios.
Like, even WWE's like, okay, we have too many. They're about to cut off the 24/7 title, probably.
I should have been cut off.
You
a while
know,
ago.
exactly. They
Here's
need
f***ing
to,
hoping.
they need to cut off. I think they need to cut off either one of the world titles in WWE, or they need to just separate them again and not have just the one.
They'll separate them at some point.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Well, that was real quick. That was the whole thing where apparently Monday, at time of recording, the Monday following All Out and everything, and Clash, there's supposed to be some type of announcement about the titles,
right.
but it got scrapped.
Right.
So I don't know.
Also, I just thought about this. The same day as All Out, just a couple hours before, was NXT Worlds Collide. They took out the UK titles, so they have less titles right now too.
Well,
they
that's
took
also
off,
because of NXT Europe, so who
and
knows?
they'll probably bring some belts for that. But it's like right now we have less belts for them, but it seems like AEW's just stacking belts.
Yeah.
You know, and again, we don't need other people's belts when we're not even defending your own belts. The match was very subpar. I mean, I don't know. Sammy Guevara matches aren't good anymore.
I don't like watching matches where one of the wrestlers is gonna die.
Yeah.
So
and Sammy Guevara
get paralyzed.
And Sammy Guevara has advanced in the world title tournament, but we'll get to that. But yeah, so I don't know I don't know if it's because they just wanted a heel to go against someone else, or if that was just because maybe they didn't want to push Darby. I don't know.
They hate Darby.
Yeah, I guess
They
so.
really do. They just keep him with Sting and there's.
They loved him at first, but
first.
But what's the next match, Max?
We're just talking about titles. This is the biggest title they got. The FTW Championship match.
Yes.
Got Hook versus Cool Hand Angelo Parker with Daddy Magic Matt Menard.
Yes.
Can we skip over this one?
We can't. It's not that long of a match. Hook obviously won. He is undefeated. If you do not know and you're listening, Hook is the son of Taz, former ECW World Champion, former FTW Champion. He actually invented the belt. It was a quick match. Believe it or not, Hook's been doing like this squash match thing for a very long time. They actually made him like get beat up a bit.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
This is most competition he's had. Normally it's just a quick little strike fest, and then he puts him in the red room or rear naked choke, and he wins. But this one, he was actually on the losing end for a little while, and then he finally, I guess, turned it around and won it. But
Who was the match against again, by the way?
Angelo Parker.
Okay, for some reason I thought it was PT
They're not still 2.0, are they?
No, they're not 2.0. They changed their name when they joined the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Right. Were they 2.0 when they started AEW?
Yes.
Yes.
So what were they in NXT?
They were Everrise.
Everrise. That's what
They
it
were
was.
over.
They were.
And now they're doing this, and it's just like, I'm over them.
I'm over factions that have Jericho in it. Like,
Yeah.
I really...
Well, I'm just over the fact that, like, I don't know about you guys, but if I was a wrestler, I wouldn't want little kids calling me daddy.
Daddy Magic.
Like, any form of daddy.
Honestly, I don't think I want anyone to call me daddy. But,
well, I'm just saying, like, it's awkward. It's really
Right.
awkward.
I don't know, but that's just the gimmick, I guess. But,
it's not a good one.
I honestly, I'm trying to think. I don't know what else to talk about this. The guy who does Hook's song got involved, but
Yeah.
other than that, I don't have anything else to say about it. It really just was
Mid.
for once. Hook kind of got he wasn't doing the squash match thing, but it still was only like a 4 or 5 minute match tops.
You know what's messed up about that? You're in Chicago. You got Hook. Where the hell is Danhausen?
I know Danhausen's a Chicago boy.
And they didn't have him on the card at all.
No, because Death Triangle, they weren't on the card because Pac had his match. So
Yeah, Pac had his.
Well, Death Triangle was on the card, but in separate matches.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't really know what else to say about this, but Hook's just kind of, he's still undefeated, and he's still on the squash match thing for the most part.
Still garbage.
Most entertaining thing was when Action Bronson came in the ring, and we were joking about how he looked like a knockoff Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yes,
He got the flame tattoos to prove it.
He
so.
really did. What's the next match?
The next match is for the All Atlantic Championship, where you have the Bastard Pac versus Kip Sabian.
So this one makes me sad, and it's because the match was
It was so bad.
what's the word?
This is less than mid.
Yeah,
Just because you had this stupid... Alright, so Kip Sapien,
Yeah.
they've been building him... Well, no, they haven't. But
that's the reason that it makes me sad. Is I was looking forward to
Like-
seeing Kip.
he's been in the crowd for so long with that stupid box over his head looking like a disfigured Cody Rhodes fan.
Just has underrated over it on
Something like that,
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I
on
think
the
that's what he
cardboard
said.
box.
Yeah.
Like, you have him sit there for... How long
It's
was it? It was
been
months.
almost a year.
I think it was a year. I think they said because I think if I'm
think it
not
was, like,
mistaken,
over a year.
it said 400 and something days.
Yeah.
So, which
Well,
is
since
over a
he'd
year.
been in the ring, but yeah.
Okay, well, yeah.
But
Well,
he'd been in the crowd for like
he's
right around
been
a year.
inactive for quite some time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
His
When you-
first match back is a pre-show match, and he loses.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, speaking of how long he had been in the crowd, just to kind of extend, like, they really didn't build him up, they kind of just had him sitting there. When you went to your 2 AEW shows, Max,
Yeah.
or you went 3,
Was he
there?
right? 2? Okay. Was he there in the audience for you?
He was. I know he was there in January when I went, January, February when I went in Greensboro. He was definitely, or Columbia. He
'Cause
was
did you-
definitely there.
Did you go to Battle of the Belts?
No,
Or
I didn't.
Okay, because I was in Charlotte in January. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Because me and Dalton were in Florida at the time, but I thought you had talked about going, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
But I don't think he probably wasn't even there, but he was there the first time.
I feel like he was there in December though when I went to Greensboro to see the show there.
Right.
I don't think he was there for us when we were in July.
He was 100% not doing that at the time, though. I don't think he was doing
I think
it
he was
at
on the
that time.
inactive list and just didn't
Yeah.
do anything.
Kip was because the thing was by that point when we went, Miro was the TNT champion, and he had the ugly
God's favorite champion.
like
Yeah.
white. Was it a cream colored belt or was it white?
It was white.
No, it was
with
white.
with the
Scorpio
green-
Sky was the cream color, though.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that one was probably the ugliest.
Like, can we be
one.
honest? Is there any version of the TNT title that looks good?
I like
the-
the black and the red strap.
I thought the black
looks
one's
pretty
fine.
The TNT title looks garbage.
It looks better than the TBS title.
They
but it's
both
practically
look
the same
bad.
thing.
They both look bad.
It's like the blue for me on the TBS title. Like that doesn't look, or like the cyan.
I'm talking about
looks
just the
gross.
design. I hate, especially WWE. The belt is the logo. I hate it. I absolutely
Yeah.
hate it.
Well,
It's like when in the 2K games or even before when you're making a YouTube belt and the play button symbol is the logo for the belt.
see, the thing is the WWE Championship design.
The network one.
Yes, is fine, but when you copy and paste it over and over
Yeah.
again,
Well, it's like
that's when it makes.
I've heard the
not
argument
okay.
so many times. It's like, well, yes, it's not a belt that you traditionally would want or whatever. It's like it makes sense for a company like that to just have their belt be their logo.
But it also seems like for the last 40 years of WWE, the belts look like a toy. Every single
Hulk
time.
Hogan, as the champion, called it a toy in Japan.
Because you have the Winged Eagle, which I know we're going on a belt rant right now, but you have the Winged Eagle
Well,
Championship.
these belts are more important than the All Atlantic Championship.
Yes.
So
that belt looked
They're-
like a toy.
I keep wanting to call it the Mid Atlantic. Might as well call it that because it's mid. So
And then you had the Attitude. I think the Attitude Era belt looked like a toy too. People will quote that and the Undisputed title.
Yeah.
I think they both still look like toys.
I
The
don't know, the
spinner
Undisputed
belt,
looks nice,
however, the spinner belt is that is
Super toy.
that is the toy. Yeah, that
that
one's
one makes
rough.
sense though.
And then you
As
had
a toy.
the Rock version of the technically not the network logo but the Scratch logo, and then you have the network logo. Literally every single one of them is a toy. Like, that's literally what they are.
Well, for being fair,
And especially
though,
with these, like the Universal title, with it being blue and red strap, that looks like a toy.
but the
Like,
Rock's
it really
championship was cool just because it was different.
Cool. It was
It was
cool.
the first redesign that they've had since Cena won the belt.
Well, due to the fact that there had been different versions of a spinner championship for almost 10 years, one being the Miz, which was literally changing the W to an M, and then the Rated R championship, which was just his logo as the spin. And so, yeah, they all look like toys. But I do think that the TNT title is it's not the greatest looking one, but I do think there could be worse title designs.
If I could,
One of them being the 24/7 title.
If I could, I would still buy the Rated R spinner belt in a heartbeat.
I personally,
if I could, if I had the money, I would buy it in a heartbeat.
I never disliked the spinner belt.
I just think it's interesting. That's
just
the belt that we.
That's what I grew up on.
Yeah,
so,
we were introduced to that belt.
Yeah, I mean,
As
literally,
fans,
I can't remember a time watching wrestling, that didn't have that belt, obviously, in some way. Like, we started watching after the Rated R belt, so literally it was just the W. When we started wrestling, the W didn't even spin anymore, so it was just like...
For the post for you.
I mean, it stayed in its W shape. It didn't even turn into anything else until Miz made it the M, which wasn't that cool at all.
But as we're getting off of the belt rant, Triple H is apparently redesigning the belts.
Very excited.
So what the redesigns are and what belts, I don't know.
Bring back the big gold belt.
I thought that they were going to redesign the NXT titles because they were combining the two, but I don't think they are.
The fact that they just redesigned the NXT titles a couple months ago don't make me think that they're going to redo
But
that.
it's
Yeah,
worth,
the
redesigns are worth
color.
No, not just that.
Color.
They changed the N
Ooh.
on the NXT. Because instead of a regular N like it was, it's slanted. It's slanted.
Well, the T's also slanted. Is it? Like
they redesigned it slightly.
I would.
It looks so bad
to the people who will buy
because of the color.
To the people that buy that replica belt, I feel bad for you.
Well, and
the fact that people actually bought the 24/7 replica.
They made the women's title. I know we're still on the rant, but it's like they made the title a white strap. Why? Why would you make it a white strap? You're making it like the women's title for NXT after they redesigned it from like the jeweled
the
girly
belt.
one. The page belt for lack of a better term.
She was the first champion.
But when they redesigned it, it was exactly the same as the men's. The only difference was it had women and it was a slightly different color. Like, it was silver on gold rather than, it was gold on silver rather than silver on gold.
It was a prestigious looking belt.
And it was the exact same thing as the men's. Same strap, color, everything. As soon as you made it white, you made it like the main roster where it was, more, for a lack of a better term, girly.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that...
But it fits Mandy.
When you had the black strap on both...
They were equal.
They looked equal, and that's what everyone wants. And I agree that women's wrestling is definitely
Does UFC
better.
Does a white strap for women? No.
Women's wrestling definitely is better now than it was in the past because they take it more serious. Especially
for the most part,
NXT women's wrestling for the last 7 years has been really good. But yeah, you change it to a white strap. It just makes it look weird. And the only belt that I think has ever looked good with a white strap was the Intercontinental Championship. That was the only one. And maybe the Women's Championship, the Raw Women's Championship. But it was
first introduced,
But it was only that one. There wasn't a SmackDown Women's title that had the same look.
I will say,
anything like that.
The women's tag titles do look good with the white.
I do like the women's tag titles.
Now, if they were worth a damn...
The NXT women's tag titles, however, do not look good with the white
it's the men's titles with a white strap. They could have just made the men's titles redesigned.
Right.
God, did they I know, we got to get off the topic in a second, but did they redesign the men's titles? For the tag titles? Did they add color as well?
I don't know.
I
I
think
really hope not.
the answer to that one is actually no.
Thank
They never
God.
did.
They might get a redesign, to be
But
honest.
they might get a redesign.
If you redesign the tag titles, you better make it look more like the NXT UK.
The NXT UK titles across the board look so good.
The tag titles especially. The tag titles are one of my favorite title designs.
Like
It looks so nice.
NXT's always had the greatest title designs because North American title,
Well,
phenomenal.
the Intercontinental title's not bad. I love it. I know people were like about it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think it's a unique design that looks good for the modern era because it got old. The old style got old. You know, it ran its course.
I do think the Intercontinental Championship needs to have some blue in it.
I think if it had blue,
The black strap on, like the black globes,
which is fun.
it just looks like it just blends in too much. It needs to have a little bit of blue in there.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
If they made it like the
Also,
Scratch Attitude Era.
Speaking,
yeah.
I think that's an issue they had with both those mid-card titles.
The U.S.
The
title
U.S.
needs more
title
blue.
needs blue. It needs some blue on top. And then
Where the stars are, it's gold.
They're
It
such-
needs blue.
such great belts, both need blue. That's all they need, and they're great belts. So I mean, but I don't know.
But off of belt design,
Yeah, onto useless belts.
the mid belt, Pac won.
He puts the mid and mid card belt.
Exactly. Yeah, they said the no title is the mid card title. This is the mid card now. So Pac won. Orange Cassidy came out, challenged him, and Pac turned heel for the most part, without even doing anything besides going through the heel entrance.
Yeah.
He turned heel.
Yeah, but
Turned away from him, said, "No, you're not getting
this
it."
this whole freaking pay-per-view had weird people come, like people who were
It was weird
faces going
writing.
through the heel tunnel. It didn't make any sense.
It was really weird writing.
Yeah, I didn't understand that, but yeah, so Pac kind of just turned heel. But does that mean the rest of the Death Triangle?
No, they're still face.
Because I don't get it. Because I don't know. We'll have to see as the
They still acted like
as
faces.
next week goes, because them winning those belts, which we'll get to, because there's a point to it.
More belts.
More belts. There's a point to this. They win those belts later on. You have a heel and two faces. It seems a little odd, but yeah, this match was very subpar, and it is sad that this match was a kind of, I guess, as Dalton said, mid.
Well, and Kip
deserves
after the
better.
after
Me
the match,
personally think
he's
so.
just arguing with the damn box.
Yeah, he was fussing at the box. So I mean,
As if it was like Alexa Bliss fussing at the Lily doll.
when are we getting what's her name back with him? Like when is
No!
Penelope
Oh
Ford?
my
Penelope
God!
Ford.
We'll get to her later, but she came back this week on Dynamite and got
Right.
stomped.
Yes.
I just realized what the Kip Sapien gimmick is. It's just Al Snow with the head, or like Perry Saturn with the mop.
But do we know that yet? Is he really going to be
Look
that
at it. He's a
attached?
lunatic. He's talking to it. It's either Perry Saturn with Moppy, or it's Al Snow with the head.
Well,
Is this a punishment for Kip Sapien? Because they couldn't put him over with the best man gimmick, with
that is a
Miro.
question. I don't know. I don't know if they'd be punishing him or not, but I will say,
They put his return match on the mid card, or not the mid card, the pre-show. It's gotta be.
If we keep going through Dynamite and Rampage and Dark Elevation, whichever show he'll be on, and he starts arguing with the box, then I will agree that it's kind of like an Al Snow
He'll be on
situation.
MLW before long.
But I'm not quite sure, but I hope it gets better.
It
But
won't.
what's the next match?
The next match is Tomohiro Ishii versus Eddie Kingston.
I thought there was 4 matches on the pre-show.
That is
That is 4.
What did I skip? Oh yeah, Hook.
Yes, you forgot about Hook. Yeah.
It's pretty easy to forget about Hook.
I really hate to have to just I feel like we're just running straight through these, but the
Most
pre-show
of them had
meant
nothing to talk about. Well, my thing is Ishii deserves better.
Well,
He is
here's
such a legendary Japanese wrestler, and just to put him with
Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston and put Kingston over,
So here's
to me is just
my thing, right? I personally don't have a problem with either of those wrestlers. I know you, Dalton, you're not a great big fan of Eddie Kingston.
Who is? Definitely not Guevara.
Max, are you?
Not really.
Okay, well, he's not. Yeah, he's not like I hate him, but it's like a neutral type.
He's
thing.
there.
So I don't mind Eddie Kingston. I don't dislike the other. But so here's something that I had thought about when we were watching the match, and that was going back to Clash at the Castle. Gunther and Sheamus, I said, was probably the best match on the card. It was the best match on the card. They had a chop war. This match also had a chop war where they would just smack each other's chest.
It's Eddie Kingston's
These
chops.
were very just light slaps and didn't look like they were actually doing anything.
Ishii had some very soft slaps, which disappointed me.
Yes, but like you gotta put some arm into the chop. I mean, Gunther and Sheamus were not holding back. They were going, and that's not saying that every chop that Sheamus and Gunther did were great. They had some that didn't really hit right, but also you're trying to hit someone the exact same way over and over time. It's not gonna be perfect every time. But they had some great chops. There was not a single chop, I think, in this match that actually like echoed, made a noise. None. I only remember the chops from this match. I don't remember anything else. I really don't.
There wasn't anything else but chops. That's all they did.
That's really all it was.
Well, then I guess I didn't miss much. I really wish we could talk a little bit more about this match, but there isn't any more we can talk about this match.
Other than the fact that Kingston won.
Yeah, Kingston won. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, so we're done with the pre-show. Now on to the 10 matches we have to get through. We'll try to go in depth with what we can, but we'll not just stay on it for so long, because I know if anyone who's listening knows what happened this last week as of recording, this isn't why you clicked on it. So let's just get on in to the main card.
These are the naughty bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our first match on the card was the Casino Ladder match, where you had ROH World Champion Claudio Castagnoli versus Pure Champion Wheeler Yuta versus Penta versus Rey Fenix versus Rush versus Andrade versus Dante Martin versus The Joker.
Rush! The band was there?
My bad. Rouge.
I'm going to make it very clear before you make fun of anyone. When we were watching this match, you said Rush too, so don't
When did I
even.
say Rush?
You said Rush when he came out, and I was like, it's Rouge. But
No, I think I said every time I look at it, it's just Rush, but it's Rouge. But that's also just hilarious, just because you wouldn't think it'd be Rouge,
right.
unless you know.
That'd been kind of cool if Rush the band was there. That probably would have been the.
Geddy Lee just starts shredding on a ladder.
Yeah, no.
Oh
Instead,
god, Leo Rush comes back.
no. Instead, we got Rolling Stones playing, but we'll get to that.
One word. Let's do to start off. One word to describe the match. Going.
Disappointing.
Max.
It's gonna be two, but I'm gonna say let down.
Dog water.
Okay, so if you don't know how the Casino ladder match works, so pretty much it's like how the Royal Rumble works in a sense, but ladder match form. So after some time, I think, is it 90 seconds? It's maybe 2 minutes?
90 seconds. They pull poker chips, so that determines the order.
I mean, they definitely fudged the numbers just like a Royal Rumble.
Of course.
Because that was not 90 seconds. Some of that was a lot faster. Or slower.
And yeah, so they'll, after 90 seconds or 2 minutes, whichever one it is, they'll come out, and that's pretty much how the match works. And then, I guess after everyone comes in, that's when they can grab it.
No.
Or can
They can go for it at any point.
They can grab it whenever they want. Like if you
Which
the
is
first
broken,
person in the
to be
ring and
honest.
you grab the poker chip, good
So
for you, you win.
3, 4, 5, and 6, it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
you basically get
That's the thing. At least in TNA, they have a rule
Don't talk about
for
those
that
matches.
stuff. You know what I mean? Well, at least they have a rule for that.
So-
it's like you can't do this unless everybody. Well, no, that's just War Games. You can't make a pinfall until everyone is in
in
there.
the cage.
Yeah. So it's like that should be a thing.
Does anyone know that if that's how they do it for Art of War games and GCW? I'm assuming it's the same thing.
I have
no idea.
Maybe they just all stay in there at the same time.
I
I've
still
never
keep up with
watched it.
GCW.
If anyone knows, leave it in the comments. Well, that upsets me because I was going to say I actually like the rules of the casino ladder match, but I don't like that at all. I don't like that one bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's never happened, I don't think, so it doesn't matter. But
I don't think anybody's been smart enough to do it.
So the big
in storyline,
it's wrestling. Yeah, I guess wrestling. So one of the biggest problems I had with this match was the fact that it was all a bunch of tag teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have so many single stars that you could have tried to push.
And there was no
excluding Dante Martin.
And there was no like build up of why these guys are fighting against one another. And I don't think anyone actually did fight one another, but still it was like what's the point?
Better question, how many people in this match were a champion? At least two.
Claudio
yes.
and Wheeler, they're both ROH
Both of them
champions.
are ROH champions.
Well, there's Penta and Ray. They're champions now.
But so you're already a champion. What's the point of having them try to get a title shot?
Double champion.
Yeah. I don't know. But the fact, just what I was saying is they should have grabbed like one person. There's so many factions in AEW. Take like one or two or one person from every faction.
Yeah, don't put like two.
Put them in the match together and let them go at it. Don't have teams in here. Because most of this match just ended up being like Claudio and Wheeler versus Andrade and Roosh. Or it would be like Penta and Ray versus Andrade and Roosh. Just teaming up on each other. There's no actual one-on-ones going on. It's all tag team wrestling.
And if we're being honest, the last time... No, it's not the same match. The last time a match happened like this where it was the brass ring, where literally it's just a Sonic coin up in the air.
Yeah.
At least they had, stars that were realistically could be in the match and could, contend for the TNT title. None of them could contend for the world title.
No offense to Dante Martin.
He is not a main eventer.
Tony is not going to book him as a world title holder.
Especially not right now.
Yeah. Same thing with Rouge. Or, like...
Well, Rouge is more believable just because he held the ROH title.
Yeah, and then again, like, with Wheeler, I understand that he's kind of over right now, but you ain't going to put a world title on him.
He's still what is the term? He's still, like, the new guy.
Still kind of raw talent.
Yeah. He hasn't really proved himself all that much, for being honest.
And they ain't going to split up Ray and Penta right now just to make one of them. So this match kind of just determined itself, and I know they're not going to put a double champion on Claudio right now.
Yeah.
Tony already has that under his belt. It's like, I made him a champion first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at me. It was the Lord Farquaad. See, I got the crown, see?
But this match was weird, and then...
The finish was weird.
The finish was the worst. And that was
so bad.
Like, did the lights go out? And then all of a sudden...
No, that's the problem. They didn't even go out.
Everyone in black jumpsuits just rushed the ring.
So like, Retribution, but...
Yes.
AEW.
And then Malcolm Bivens.
And he grabbed it.
Or, what is his name?
Stokely Hathaway.
Stokely Hathaway. I still call him Malcolm Bivens because that's what he was in NXT.
And, so he grabs it, and he actually rings it down, but he's not in the match. And then the Joker
comes
out.
Sympathy the Devil starts to play, and here comes the Joker.
So not Rush, sadly, but the Rolling Stones. And he just gives him the Joker the poker chip, and that's the end of the match.
Great. Now Tom Sawyer's in the head.
Then, you have everyone unmasked, revealing that it was
except
the Joker.
The Joker. That's the only person that anyone wanted to see.
Yeah, it was Stokely Hathaway with Austin and Colton Gunn, W. Morrissey, Lee Moriarty, and All Ego Ethan Page.
All Ego.
Such a shit team.
You can't say anything bad about All Ego Ethan Page.
You can't talk about the Gun Club either.
Yeah.
Yes, I can, first of all.
They're not the Gun Club.
Oh, my bad. The Gun Brothers, then.
No.
The Ass Boys.
The Ass Boys.
No, I can talk crap about all of them. For one, the Gun Club is useless. Two, Ethan Page. I thought he was a single star. No, he wasn't even a single star before he came to AEW. He was in a tag team. He was in the North with the Impact World Champion. What is his name? I forget for some reason.
Josh Alexander?
Yeah.
Josh Alexander. I don't know why his name
Escaped you?
Yeah. So the Gun Club is ass. No pun intended. Ethan
I love
Page.
that. I really do like
Ethan
that.
Page, outside of AEW, is too full of himself because he was charging a hell of a lot of money for
Shoot video.
yeah, shoot video
Hold on.
$200.
Hold on.
for
Come on,
Ethan
man.
Page, a guy that barely gets screen time.
All ego. All ego Ethan Page, baby.
That's all.
He can blow that ego up. He can blow that $200.
Who else? W. Morrissey. I mean, it's Big Cass. That's good enough. I mean, you could have a big guy. Who else is in it? Was that it?
Lee Moriarty.
Who?
No, I'm
Sorry.
I'm kidding.
Lee Moriarty. You can skip over. He really has not done anything special.
Yeah, that's really it.
And then, of course,
Just wait until
Malcolm Bivens.
Wait till Lee Moriarty hears this. He's gonna be so upset by your opinion.
It's
of
not.
him.
Well, no, it's not even a real opinion on him. It's just like you hear Lee Moriarty. Like, honest to God, what is the first thing you think of? Dark, maybe.
I was jokingly saying that. I don't really know anything.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's not anything
other than
against
the name.
him.
Both shows I went to, he was on dark matches.
It's nothing against him at all. This is a way for him to get screen time. Like, this is a good way to get all of these guys screen time. The Gun Club, I mean, that could have gone a little bit longer with the Acclaim, but
Yeah, but the show I went to on Dark, it had Darby Allin. So what do you say?
yeah, it's nothing against him. It's nothing against any of the talent. And going back to Dante Martin in the last way, nothing against him. Or it's still in this match. Never mind. I forgot we haven't moved on yet. Nothing against them at all. It's just that they're not stars yet. And unless they're pushed like them or used like them, they're not going to be stars in this company.
I can see Ethan Page becoming TNT champion.
Ethan Page could be the face of the company at one point. Because he's got age on his side. He's got the look. He looks like a champion. He could be a world champion in the future.
Decent on a mic too.
He'd be like,
Yeah, he's decent on the mic.
a little better on the mic. He'd kind of be like, just because he can be the heel. He could be like Mr. Kennedy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Give him a Mr.
That,
Perfect gimmick.
and the reason I say
And
that
he's
is
golden.
because Mr. Kennedy during the mid 2000s, world title written all over that guy. But the one thing he didn't, I'm not saying this is what actually kept him back, because the only thing that kept him back was, I think, injury.
It's a number of things.
But world title written all over him, but he didn't have the physique like some of the other guys, like John Cena and stuff like that. But his ability to work and then his mic skills were just perfect. And I think All Ego has that. He's not like gigantic, but he still has, you're right. He
He's
looks
still
like
got the
he
physique.
looks like a champion.
He could be a champion.
And he could
Oh,
be.
he's already been a tag champion with the
The
North.
thing is you have to put a belt on him, whether that be,
Build him up first.
Put a
Then put a belt
mid-card
on him.
put a mid-card belt on him. Go from there. That's what I think. Because they've done
I mean,
that.
you can't have him beat Wardlow.
They've done that with quite a few people, but the thing is after they lose the belt, they either go into tag teams or they just disappear. Not Atten Miro, but Atten Miro.
I was about to say Miro.
They just disappear. And that's the thing. The whole point of the mid-card title is to see what they can do, push them up to main event status. That's what the Intercontinental Championship was for. I mean, yeah, you've had people like Mr. Perfect, who, like Dalton was talking about, he never won the world title, but what other Intercontinental Champions have you had? Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Bret Hart, Stone Cold, The Rock. That's what the TNT title should be.
Well, and the bad thing is, too, when you have it's clearly a mid-card title, and you say it's not a mid-card title. How are you going to say it's not a mid-card title when clearly it's a mid-card title?
Right. And you could take the TNT champion that you get and then bump them up to where you need to go for your main event stars. Because don't get me wrong, I know they have plenty of main event stars. They have pick a name, I guess technically other than Wheeler Yuta in Blackpool Combat Club, and you have main event status. I mean,
William Regal in the ring.
Yeah, William Regal, baby.
Well, yeah, hell, even Regal.
Yeah, I love Wheeler Yuta, by the way, but he's just like he's not there yet. But I mean, you pick him, and I mean, you have main event stars, but that's the whole point of that belt. You're supposed to build them up, and I don't even think they're going to build up ROH World Champions in order to bump them up to AEW Champions.
No.
Really
I think we're just going to stick with the same circle of AEW World Champions or top guys, and then never go out of that. Because like I don't think Darby Allin will ever reach main event status. Sadly, I don't think.
Sadly.
Well, I'm just saying, like, because he had the belt. He was the longest reigning. You know.
Still is.
And the thing
Yeah,
is,
still is technically.
Well, Wardlow's going to break that, I think.
the only person I think that's been TNT champion other than Cody Rhodes, but he's no longer with the company, that could have went to main event status was Brody Lee.
Wardlow is a cardboard champion.
Wardlow is not a cardboard champion.
He's done nothing special.
Because they haven't utilized him right now. Just wait.
Utilized him.
Yeah, they utilized him. So funny.
But anyway, but this match was weird, and it was I was excited that this was the opener, and then they threw this at us. Yeah, it wasn't my favorite, but
the finish is
we're not
what
gonna
set it off.
let's stop making
It
fun
was
of
so bad.
Lee Moriarty and
I wasn't making
Dante
fun of him.
Martin. And let's get on with it. What was the next? I don't even remember what the second match on the card was.
It was the AEW World Trios Championship Finals with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson with Brandon Cutler against Hangman Page and the Dark Order of Alex Reynolds and John Silver.
The wrong team won, in my opinion.
Well,
we know that now.
yeah, we know that now.
No. Even in the moment, the obvious team won. The right team lost. You should have given the Dark Order something. The Dark Order have been there since the beginning, even without Brody. They've been there since the beginning of AEW for the most part. You have not given them.
Yeah.
You've given them less than. You've released 2 of their members so far, at least, if I'm not mistaken.
It's 2. It's
Because Alan Angels
and Stu.
Stu Grayson. One of them, I think Evil Uno is hurt right now.
and Preston.
Yeah, Preston Vance is hurt. All you have left.
Anna Jay left too.
Anna Jay, is out of it. She's now with Jericho. Because why not have more people with Jericho? You have John Silver.
Johnny Hungy.
Johnny Hungy. The BTE champion, Johnny Hungy.
I didn't even know that.
Yes.
Let's go.
Wow, another useless title.
Gets more time than All Atlantic though. Heyo.
I'm forgetting his name. His tag partner. Alex Reynolds. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Hangman's not even technically
Honorary
a member.
member.
He's not even a
Honorary
member.
leader.
Yeah.
But like Hangman has gotten the short end of the stick ever since he lost the title.
He got the short end of the stick when he was the champion.
Honestly, yeah. Well, I mean, seeing the fact that
he's working for himself. You know, he's
seeing the fact that they put a crown of thorns on Adam Cole during his match on Good Friday. That kind of set a bad precedent for him.
That was the worst move.
And it was filmed in advance. You think they could have said, "Oh, we're not going to do that."
I do think.
Then again, do you believe Tony Khan would go in there and edit something bad out of something?
No, it's
until
Tony
after
Coke.
the fact.
Tony Coke does what the he wants.
Regardless, I don't really think Adam Page has really gotten what he deserves in the company. And yeah, you're right. I do think, technically, it wouldn't have made enough sense, but I do think Dark Order with Hangman Adam Page would have probably been the better option. But I don't necessarily think that the Elite was the worst choice they could have made.
No, but like I said, it was the obvious. Because everyone knew they were going to win. No one expected them to lose. It was too predictable.
That's the whole reason Kenny came back, was just to win the titles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And now he gets to go on vacation again, so good for him. Same thing with the Bucks. Go them.
We'll get to that. But this match was okay, actually. It wasn't half bad. But yeah, I do think I will say, and I will. This one's great. Obviously, on the Dark Order side, clearly the star of that is Hangman Adam Page. But John Silver picked up some steam at the end.
He continues.
Oh, my man.
He continues to show his skill in any match that he's had.
Johnny Hungy went at it. Yeah, that was great. Let's have more of that. That's what I want to see.
Little bowling ball.
Yeah. But other than that, good match overall. But yeah, I probably would have rather seen the
I hated the
Dark
finish
Order.
though. Not saying it was a bad finish.
I actually didn't
hated
mind
it.
the finish. I didn't mind it at all.
I didn't like it because of Hangman accidentally hit John Silver. Makes sense, of course. But then it's like, as soon as he hits him, he's barely held away. Like, they barely do anything to him to stop it. Like, he's just there. He is this close. You can't see it because it's visual, but it's like very close to where they are at, and yet he's just barely being held back.
Right.
It's just a little annoying when it's like that.
But I can agree with you on that, but I do think compared to some of the other matches, that's, it's just a little like,
A bump.
Yeah, at that point we're nitpicking every little thing, because there's some things where, like, really the finish was bad. Like, the casino ladder match was really bad. So, I mean, but overall not too bad of a match, but still, the wrong team won, especially in the sense of what happened afterward. But the next match on the card, I think, was this match number 3?
Yeah, we haven't really...
Everyone's favorite, the TBS Championship.
Oh, yes. I don't know if I want you to talk about it, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, yeah. I forgot
Jade
about that.
Cargill and the Baddies versus Athena.
Jade Cargill
Really,
won.
honestly,
Yay!
yeah, it was
Move
that
on.
because it never can get a fair match. It's the same thing with Roman on the WWE side. You can never get a fair match because someone always interferes. And somehow you don't think, oh, we know how to stop this.
If you want to go back to the last podcast, or the last AEW podcast, I said...
I think that was the last podcast.
Yep. Other than Money in the Bank predictions,
yes.
But, I said in that
Well,
podcast...
the viewers forgot about that too, because look at the views, so...
Okay, calm down.
I said in that podcast that every single one of Jade's matches ends the exact same, with someone interfering and her botching her finisher.
Also,
and
what
happened in this match?
What happened to Stokely Hathaway with her?
It was actually noted in the things right here that he was absent. I guess he was too busy the Joker.
But my thing is, like, he was with her to begin with, for the most part.
Yeah.
He debuted with her, like, at one of the last pay-per-views.
It was after Double or Nothing when, who did you face? Chris Statler? No. Who did you
Anna
face?
Jay, wasn't it?
I don't know. Whoever, it's a TBS title match. Forgettable. He came out afterwards.
This conversation for this match has lasted too long.
Yeah. All right. Next match.
Jade Cargill
But
won.
like for some reason he wasn't even there. And he is her main
I
manager.
truly think that he's just thrown with everyone, and they keep forgetting who he's with. Because literally every guy.
It's the meme from 2.5 Men. It's like, I feel like I forgot someone. If you forgot it wasn't important. You're right. Leaves his son at school when it's pouring down rain to pick him up.
But she won 39-0. Yay. Okay, what's the next match?
It's the 6-man tag of the TNT champion Wardlow, the ROH, IWGP, Triple H tag team champions FTR versus Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns with Satam Singh and Sanjay Dutt.
What is this? 6-man tag number 2 of 3 on this card?
3? I thought it was more than that.
I think it was 3. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
A lot of 6-man matches. Does anyone else want to take the floor on this? I don't remember this match.
Which one was it again?
Wardlow and FTR.
Oh
versus
yeah,
Lethal
a
and the
useless
Gun.
f***ing champion. Yeah.
Don't
I'm not.
diss
I'm
Wardlow.
I'm not trying to. But his whole reign.
Dawn's over here complaining about Tyler Reigns, complaining about views. Like who? Like come on.
His title reign was over, or his title win was overshadowed by MJF. That's one thing. But his reign really hasn't been all that special, if we're being honest. You know what I mean? Can you at least agree with that, please?
I can't agree with that.
That's a booking decision.
That's
not
why
decision.
I called him a cardboard champion. Literally, the TNT title is useless at this point.
I feel like a lot of this title reign is just going to be like backing for when he goes.
It's just Goldberg.
Yeah, it's going to be backing for whenever he goes to go after the world title. Whenever some joker wins it, I don't know.
You know that's what they're going to build to.
Oh, of course.
And he'll hold both titles like Goldberg. I guarantee it. They'll pull a WCW.
It'll be revenge. Hopefully they kill off one of the f***ing mid-card titles, because we don't need all of them.
Don't they chant Goldberg during his match?
Hurts sometimes.
They have the Powerbomb Symphony. You gotta...
Well, no, I'm sorry. It's when they're chanting Wardlow, it sounds like Goldberg. So you could be mistaken for hearing. Yeah. It sounds like Goldberg if you listen to it. It's weird.
Well,
he pretty much is. He's Ryback without the dickiness.
I was like, how dare
mixed
you?
with
How
Goldberg.
dare you?
compare him to Ryback.
Well, he wears a singlet like Ryback.
Yeah.
He's got the strength of Ryback and Goldberg. And then throw a little bit of Nash in there, I guess, for height and powerbomb.
He really
it's just WCW. He's got a little bit of height on him. Compared to a lot of guys in AEW, that's tall.
Yeah.
I mean, AEW is
John
literally
Silver.
just, what NXT was, which is small guys. Like, not small guys, but you know what I mean.
Again, I don't remember this match. This is actually the one I don't know where I was at.
I think I was drinking.
We
To be
probably
fair.
all were.
I'm
I don't know.
I really don't know. I know Wardlow and FTR won because usually they just have a.
Who did they go against again? Like, I am so zoned out of this.
Lethal and the Motor City Machine Gun.
Okay, one, real quick. Having Motor City there made no sense. Two, why make them heel and with that stupid team? Three, the only other reason I remember this match, well, two reasons. One, Joe came back because he's been filming Twisted Metal. Still weird that he's the body for Twisted Metal for Sweet Tooth. And two,
Dax's daughter.
Dax's daughter, where Clinton made a meme. It was horrible.
That's not getting put in this. That's not being.
Okay. and two, Dax's daughter getting in there at the end.
And
But also,
beating Sanjay Dutt.
randomly, Joe getting busted open in the 2 seconds that it took him to get to the ring.
Yeah.
Like, he pulled a Goldberg move. Like, somehow he got busted open. Like, it cut away. He wasn't even shown, and he was bleeding. Somehow. It's like Ric Flair in that bitch.
That was weird.
I really don't know what happened, what he did.
Went sicko mode.
I want to know what happened,
Yeah.
but...
It's like when AJ Styles was just walking down the ramp.
The ramp at
He's
Mania.
already
Well, that made
busted
sense
open.
because he hit his head by
He
accident.
smacked the
Yes.
door.
In all honesty, they should have thought about that. That was kind of low.
Yeah.
Because Styles also had his
Well,
foot
due
on.
to the
He
fact-
looks down.
No offense whatsoever, because same here. My man's like 5'9", and a lot of them are a little bit taller.
Yeah.
And he hit his head again. No offense, same here. But still, come on. He's one of the shorter guys, and he still hit his head. But yeah, I mean, other than the fact that this was a quick 6-man tag, and the fact that the Motor City Machine Gun should not have been heels in this situation, I honestly don't know what else to say about this match. It really was just so bland. I don't really know.
Yeah. The only real good part about this match was after when Dax's daughter came out and beat Sanjay. And
That was really
match.
awesome. Yeah, I enjoyed that. What's the next match?
It is Absolute Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs.
Okay, this
one
this
word
match,
and we can move on.
This match is actually dog water.
This should have been. This is all I'm gonna say about it. This. Should have been pre-show.
And I actually don't mind either one of these wrestlers, but the fact that this actually could have been a decent like the build-up could have been decent.
Powerhouse.
It didn't happen.
Had a cool entrance.
Yeah.
Powerhouse Hobbs can be a star. Ricky Starks could be a star. You're not using either one of them correctly.
I think both of them are very talented, but yeah, I don't think they were used.
This match wasn't.
Especially this night. I mean, the thing is, Powerhouse Hobbs could be like Bobby Lashley. I mean, man's got some skill, and he really.
He's got the size.
I've never heard him on the mic, so I don't know.
That's because Ricky Starks was always there.
If he has some mic skill, solid.
What I've heard is he's decent. So.
Ricky Starks, decent in the ring, good on the mic, decent physique. I mean, he's not half bad. He's mid-card champion for sure. Like, 100%.
FTW.
But, I mean, both, for what it's worth, both really good wrestlers. A waste of a match, sadly. Yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs won in a matter of.
I'd say probably 5
I'm
minutes.
gonna say 4 minutes, and that's being nice.
Straight squash.
Yeah, straight squash. Hopefully they actually try to build that up, and maybe we can get a
they
shot.
won't. I guarantee you they will just move on.
Let's try. Let's give it a shot. Let's try it again. That's all I'm saying. Even if it's on Dynamite, just try it again.
They'll move on.
But what's the next match?
It is the tag team title match between Swerve and Our Glory and the Acclaimed. Sesame Daddy ass.
The Acclaimed are future stars. I don't know what else to say about that. They are so over right now. It's not even funny. You don't like them, do you, Dawn? They growing on you? They growing on you?
No, they're not.
Not at all.
I'm not gonna lie. I've never been a fan, but that's not saying that they're not good at what they do, especially wrestling. I've never been a fan of Max Caster. What is the other one's name?
Anthony
Bowens. Yeah. Them and Top Flight, which was
Darius and Dante Martin.
Yeah. Honestly, hit and miss. I really couldn't care. And it's nothing to do with them. It's just like AEW has not made me care about them. They have put themselves over, which, all power to you if you could do it, because that's how you have to get popular. It just hasn't worked for me. I can't say I'm not a big AEW guy either though, so some of their stuff is just not going to work for me. Some of the WWE stuff's not going to work for me. I mean, let's be fair. Everrise barely worked for me. I just thought it was funny because they were trying to get themselves over.
Yeah.
And then they got sacked. So.
Regardless, honestly, even if, love them or hate them,
they're still over.
They're over. Yeah. And they are top tag team.
And they're going to make them champions.
Not only are they are top tag team in AEW, they are one of the top tag teams in wrestling right now. And that is from Mike's skill from Max Caster alone.
No.
I personally think this was the best match on the card.
Story-wise, yes. Story-wise, yes. Because you had, Swerve being an absolute heel. You have Keith showing a little bit of heel, but also restraint. And then at the end of the match, when they won, Swerve and Keith, working as a team finally. But also, Keith showing, respect, other than Swerve. Right. Same thing with the Wednesday with Swerve coming out and interrupting.
I just think they need to turn Swerve heel. They need to keep Keith face, and then just get rid of that tag team.
Honest to God, I know what they're going to do.
They're so good as singles competitors. What's the point?
I know what they're going to do.
What are they going to do?
I'm calling it right now, and I guarantee it's going to happen within a couple of months.
I shall quote you on this.
They're going to have a couple more things, because Swerve came out by himself, no Keith Lee, right?
Yes.
On Wednesday. So, what they're going to do is they're going to play the card that Keith is a face. Keith is, going to be respectful, this and that. There's going to be a rematch. Now, whether this is at... there's another Dynamite coming up in 2 weeks. Yes. Or a week or so now.
One of the big shows.
Yeah, it's one of the bigger shows. Either they'll do it there or they'll do it at Full Gear. I don't see them waiting till Full Gear. They'll do it before that, I guarantee it. They'll have a rematch. Because obviously this is not done. I don't care what you say, there'll still be probably the top team for AEW. You know what I mean?
Probably.
They'll have a rematch regardless, I guarantee it. Keith Lee will turn fully and they'll retain. They won't give them the titles at all.
You think Keith will turn or Swerve will turn?
I think Keith will completely become a heel, and then Swerve in Our Glory will be a heel team. Because Keith Lee has worked as a heel in the Indies.
Yeah.
In tag teams as well. You have him do that with Swerve, I guarantee you that's where they're going. And if they don't, it's a missed opportunity. But if they break them up, that's one thing.
That's some balls on that prediction.
Yeah.
But
and I'm not giving a time frame because honestly, they could wait till Full Gear because they might have to build back up the Acclaim because they did lose. So
then again, the Acclaimed, they're so like
they'll just bounce back.
They are the only team.
The fact
with
that the
Acclaimed
wins. Lost, or the fact that Swerve in Our Glory won. And they booed because the fans are so over for the Acclaimed right now. That kind of says how much they want the Acclaimed on TV. So they're going to keep them there. And they're just going to bounce back from that loss. And they're going to go at it
But why
again.
not make them work for it? I mean, you watch that. This is their first opportunity at the tag titles, right? As far as we know.
Yeah, because they've never been as over.
Well, I'm just saying in general. They've had the most wins out of any tag team in AEW. This is the first time they've ever had a shot at the title. They're clearly gearing up for another one because they're continuing this feud. I think they'll have a rematch. They'll lose it again. The third time they have the match somewhere down the line, they'll win it. I think before the end of this year, the Acclaim will be tag team champions.
I hope so.
Beating Swerve in Our
Glory. I actually really would like
Whether that is, with the Keith Lee heel turn or not, before the end of the year, they will be tag champs. Because they're that over.
Fair enough. This was a good match, though. I mean, I agree with Max. Like, I do think this was probably one of, if not, best match on the card. I think the fact that the Acclaimed are so over and Keith Lee and Swerve Scott are just really good wrestlers, maybe that's it. I don't know. But I also can say this was probably the match where if there was a close kick out, I cared.
Yeah.
Like, I really wanted to see the Acclaim win.
Especially that one. You two were definitely...
That was
we freaked out. Yeah, that was so close. But yes, good match overall. What's the next match?
It is the 4-way for the AEW Women's Interim title with Toni Storm versus Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter versus Shida.
Another predictable match.
Tony got
honestly,
the belt.
At this point, it should have just been for the title. They should have just stripped her.
Yes. The fact that we just had an interim champion, and then... Now, that was for the world title. That was for the world title, not the women's title, but we just had an interim champion, and then that got resolved, and then she became an interim champion, and then we're like, okay, for right now, that's resolved.
Well, I don't know if it will be.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
because
just...
let's go ahead and, just state this.
Address that.
Apparently, within the last, 24 hours of the time of recording, Thunder Rosa has requested a release.
It's rumored that she's requested.
Yeah, it's rumored that she requested a release from AEW.
I mean, the rumors of releases here recently have been pretty accurate.
But here's the thing. Thunder Rosa is also not liked backstage on the women's side because her well, no, it's not that. Her injury is real. She does have a back injury. It is real. The timing of her taking off, she was apparently meant to drop the title to Toni Storm at All Out. But she decides to take time off to let her back heal right before she's supposed to drop it. Very Shawn Michaels-esque. Very lose your smile-esque. That's the problem that people are having. Thunder Rosa, this is not, and apparently this is not the first time she's done it. She's done it at another company before. It's where she's refused to put somebody over and dips right before. And honestly, it's not the first time that she's had problems because it started back all the way with Evilise. And then you had the problem with sandbagging with,
what was it? Marina Shafir.
Yeah. Who, honestly, is a legit fighter because I'm pretty sure she was one of the UFC 4 horsewomen.
She was, yeah.
You sandbag her, she's probably going to kill you. But, and then the problems have not stopped, honestly. It's been here and there, but Toni Storm had some comments about her saying it was a fake injury in the media scrum. We'll get to it. The match, honestly, it should have just been for the women's title. They should have stripped her, I think. Especially if she's going out for injury. If your champ is going out for injury and you don't have a definite time, you should just strip them of the title.
Yeah.
And have them call dibs when they come back. I know that's not sports, because they're trying to go for sports, and as if they're UFC, a combat sport. They're not. You're professional fucking wrestling. You're predetermined. We all know this. Just strip them of the fucking title. That goes for Punk too when Punk was hurt. Should have just stripped him.
He's hurt right now.
Well.
This match was fine. It was kind of skippable.
Very predictable.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It kind of sucks because I will say if it was 1-on-1, it would have been fine. But the fact that we knew that Toni Storm was going to win
it would have been justifiable.
Really
1-on-1.
I feel bad because it makes me feel like we've really skipped over the two women's matches, but it's solely due to the. I will say it's solely due to the fact that Thunder Rosa shouldn't have did what she did, and it would have been fine.
I feel like if they would have had more entertaining women's matches, it wouldn't have been a problem.
And also, what's the hype about being an interim champion when they might come back and you might win it, but at that point it's just saying you're holding the belt for them because technically they still have their reign as champ. The days are still going. They didn't pause.
Well, actually, I don't know because
Punk's
I don't know.
Did so
did it?
Punk.
Did it because some people were saying that technically Punk has only been champ for a matter of 5 days.
People said that Punk's was still going.
But is that officially recognized by
AEW?
AEW?
They said it on commentary.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. So,
I didn't hear it, so I must have missed it.
With that in mind, Thunder Rosa is still going on. But
again, Thunder Rosa also had the title beforehand.
Correct.
Yeah.
But if they would have just said
she was hurt way before that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
If they would have just said she's the AEW Women's Champion and then Thunder Rosa comes back and they just unify the belt, fine, whatever. But what's the who cares about being interim champion? It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So the only reason this is really getting skipped over is solely because of one person kind of ruining it for all and them having to be in a kind of tough situation.
There is one big thing that happened in this match,
okay.
and that was when Jamie Hayter basically had the win, and Britt Baker, who was kind of in a team with her, pulled her off and cost her the match.
Fair enough, yeah.
And so Britt basically turned on Jamie.
Yes.
Which honestly you could have seen coming.
Yeah, that's been building for a while. I thought that was going to happen when Britt lost the title to... Or it was right before Britt lost the title to Thunder Rosa. Some stuff had happened, and I thought, she's going to turn, but it never happened.
Honestly, could have had just Jamie Hayter turn, and it could have worked either way.
Yeah.
Well, I try to keep Britt as the heel. She's good on the mic talking so...
But either way, it could have worked, to be honest. I mean,
yeah.
You could have had her as the face, trying to put her over as the heel, and it might have worked. Who knows? Not a fan of Britt Baker all that much, so.
Dr. Britt Baker.
DMD.
What's the next match, Max?
Oh, the longest match of the night. Lord. You got Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage.
Okay, so...
Well, this match, it's sad just because it would have been a good match.
Okay, so first off, let's get this out of the way because this really wasn't brought up that much before the match started. Christian
No, it was not known.
Cage.
I don't think.
Christian Cage is injured.
He's a bicep injury, I think.
Christian Cage is an older wrestler, and so it makes sense for them to try to protect him as much as possible in order to maybe preserve him for a little bit longer. With that being said, it is sad that this match wasn't that long. It could have been really good. Regardless of how long this match was, broke my absolute heart when Luchasaurus turned completely on Jungle Boy. Tragic. Completely tragic. I just... And also, when did they start calling Jungle Boy by his full name?
I think Jack Perry.
Jack Perry.
Since
that's
the feud started.
That's Jim Ross. That's all. Well, they
Jim
are
Ross
promoting
that
that for a long time.
Right.
But a lot of it has started since the feud because they brought
They brought his dad up so much.
Yeah, they brought the death of Luke Perry and then his family in it as well. So,
but it is sad that this match wasn't that long. I'm pretty sure, was it just a spear and then a kill switch?
Yeah,
spear.
But in the ring.
In the ring, right.
Had the
Other
powerbomb
than
on the
that,
ramp and
a choke slam through a table. I'm pretty sure. And probably a multitude of other things.
Well, the fact that we're gonna not be on this for that long is solely because the match was like 30 seconds.
Well, he kicked out, didn't he?
He kicked out of the spear, and then
Christian
hit him with the unprettier, and that was the end of that.
I hate that name.
It's
Kill Switch. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm sure Christian hated it as well.
I think that's why they changed the name in the first place. I hope they resume that at a later time.
Well, they're clearly they got to do something with him and Luchasaurus.
I hope so because it's so sad and I'm sad. But yes, so Christian won. Hopefully he comes back when he's... I was going to say as quick as possible, but that is not the case. When he is healthy to come back.
Which is not going to be until next year.
It's going to be a second. What's the last... not the last match. What's the next match?
It's actually a lot better match. You got Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho.
American Dragon versus Lionheart. This was the match I was looking forward to the most going in, and I will say,
one of the most forgettable going out, to be honest.
Even though it wasn't half bad at all, it was disappointing, and I think that solely just had to do with the fact of how long the pay-per-view is.
Yeah. This is just one of the matches that just kind of dragged on. It was very technical.
Yes.
Technical matches are good in a sense and bad in a sense. They just make everything feel like it takes forever.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, they probably wouldn't have done that match the way they did it had they known they were going to have a rematch.
Right, yeah.
Because it's next week?
Yeah, they're fighting for the custody of Daniel Garcia.
Yes, pretty much.
I would have said
Ray
they were
and Eddie.
actually fighting for something greater, but we'll get to it.
They're fighting for the ROH Pure Champion, basically.
But this is actually something, before we get off of this, because again, it was super technical, but it wasn't... There wasn't actually...
forgettable almost.
Yeah, it was kind of forgettable.
Which is sad, because that was the one of the only matches I was looking forward to.
But they are going back to it. But this was something we brought up earlier. And that is the weird build up with the fact that Blackpool Combat Club is the face, Jericho Appreciation Society is the heel, but Bryan Danielson went through the heel tunnel.
Did Jericho go through the face tunnel? Or did he go through the heel?
Heel.
So they both went through the heel.
So they try to portray it as both heel, which is weird.
Yeah, when there's a clear face. I didn't like that. and I don't think that's how it should have been done. It's not like, I know that sounds like a really picky thing, but like seriously, there's a face and a heel.
Better
There's
question.
a face and heel tunnel.
Better question. Do you remember what tunnel that Claudio and Garcia came out of? I think came out of the faces.
Yes, they did, but not the
Which
other
is weird.
ones.
Well, it's probably like the Pac situation where he's coming out of the heel tunnel from now, and the Lucha Brothers will come out of face.
But it's weird because even after Danielson was still acting like a face.
Yeah, that's my concern.
Even on Wednesday.
Is that
Yeah,
he
on
acted like a
Wednesday
face.
when he belted Garcia, that was a face move.
I don't know. Maybe there was a specific reason. Maybe he accidentally went through it. I don't know. But I mean, I really don't know.
I'm confused with Danielson because they had him as a face when he came into the company.
Ran him as a heel for a while versus Hangman.
Which was random. And
with Moxley.
Yeah, for a second with Mox, and then they put him in a tag team.
Yeah.
And he's just randomly face again.
Yeah, I don't know. The fact that he went to the heel tunnel, I don't know why that made me hate the match, but it did. I really don't.
Sense.
It just didn't make any sense.
Theme wise, it didn't make sense.
It didn't. But decent match overall. But we're gonna get a sequel anyway, so it's fine.
It's irrelevant for the time being.
Exactly.
For the most part.
And what's the next match?
It is another trios match. You got the House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro.
Well, it's not the House of Black anymore.
So, yeah.
Sadly.
So let's talk about that. So we made the reference when we were talking about Thunder Rosa that about releases and stuff, and that is
the bad thing is it was rumors leading up to All Out.
Yes, that Malachi Black, formerly known as Aleister Black in WWE, he was a
Tommy End.
NXT champion. Who honestly, for what it's worth, Malachi Black's the character's kind of cool. I like the House of Black.
Yeah, but it's just
Malachi Black asked for his release from the company. Initially, it was just a rumor, and some people were saying it wasn't true. It also said that Malachi Black was denied his release from the company. Obviously, that's not the case anymore.
He's gone.
Did get his release granted. Well, let's start off with the fact that they lost this match, which was a bad sign for that.
Malachi took the pin.
Took the pin, and then as the match was concluding and everyone was leaving the ring, the House of Black shared a hug, and then I think it said Malachi blew a kiss to the audience, took a bow, and he walked out.
I've seen the video. Ain't fun.
So, I didn't like this match. And I think it had to do with the fact that it made me feel like, before we knew, it felt like it was the end for Malachi Black and AEW. And I don't know. I really don't know. This is a match that really did bother me.
You randomly throw in, and I know it's not random because it's just story, just because they've all been doing stuff. You got Miro, Sting, and Darby. Doesn't make any sense.
No.
Sting should have turned heel, for one. House of Black should have won. House of Black has been doing nothing but lose, for the most part.
Well, at this point, unless they're just going to let it die, House of Black needs a leader. And
Julie Hart.
House of the Dark Order.
House of Heart.
King. Please no. Please
No,
no.
honest to God, you could do House of Heart and just bank off of the... I was talking about the new Marvel show that's going to be coming out like next year or so, the Agatha Harkness show. Coven of Chaos or whatever it is. Heart, spooky, witch, demon, whatever. Just do that. Somebody made a point. It's like apparently Julia Hart's been doing better on Dark and everything. So
I'm saying, if anything, if they break the House of Black up, please put Julia back with the blondes. I miss them.
That's not gonna make any sense. That's the problem.
I want the Varsity Blondes back.
Well,
Varsity
I don't.
Blondes are about to get released.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get
Shut
released.
up.
They're not gonna get renewed.
This is coming from someone who really enjoys them. I think they're gonna get released. But I also read where it said something along the lines that Malachi Black was also leaving for mental health reasons, so maybe it's for the best that he's taking some time off.
It was like mental health, and it was like and then just like
creative differences,
creative stress or whatever it was, just because he's been treated creatively so poorly with his on-off 50-50 booking, and the fact that he lost. Didn't he lose clean to Cody in his first feud?
No,
he didn't.
He beat Cody 3 times.
Did he?
Yes.
He pulled what he did to Seth Rollins. He just 3-0.
That was when...
No, it was when Cody no-sold the Black Mass and then put his boots in the ring as if he was retiring.
Yeah, and then...
That's what it was. That pretty much just buried him.
Yeah, because that was when Arn told Cody about how he got the Glock and spilled their brains on the pavement.
Yeah, I remember that, obviously. But overall, I mean, the match was mediocre, but the fact that Malachi Black is very sad. But maybe we'll see him back in the company. Maybe we'll see him somewhere else. I don't know. It
was a conditional release. I don't know all the conditions because this is the first real big release AEW has had to do.
And yeah, that is true. It was they were saying it was a conditional release.
And it is rumored that it might be just some free time off for Malachi, and he might make a return. But in all reality, I could see him jumping back to WWE if he does.
Well, his wife's over there.
Well, he's got...
I don't know why he wouldn't.
Yes, and then he also had a great relationship with Triple H, and something I don't think he ever had with Tony Khan. Maybe they did have a good relationship, but they obviously didn't have what
didn't have the best when you continuously had him lose.
Right, and the fact that he's asking for his release, it kind of shows... But I don't think regardless of where Aleister Black or wherever you want to call him, where he goes, I don't think there's ever going to be more of a relationship when it comes to creative thinking alike between him, Triple H. For some reason, it seemed like that clicked for that character.
Yeah.
Tony Khan, maybe it just didn't. House of Black was cool, but we'll just have to see where it goes. Maybe he'll come back. I don't know. But we hope we can see him again sometime soon.
It'd probably be in NXT.
Right. It might just be on main roster, but with,
Or not NXT. I'm saying WWE is NXT now.
But what's the next match?
The big money maker, the World Championship match between Jon Moxley and CM Punk.
Fest. The match where Punk miraculously hurts himself again. Doing a tope suicida.
Fucking brittle bones, bud.
So, if you didn't know, after Double or Nothing, as we talked about in our other episode, CM Punk had to give up the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, in which they had to crown an interim world champion due to the fact that he broke his foot, and that he was going to have to get surgery, and he was going to have to rehab it. So Jon Moxley becomes the interim AEW World Champion. CM Punk comes back. For some reason, and honestly it's not so ironic now, seemed like it was a bit early for a broken foot. They set up the match for All Out for the undisputed AEW World Champion. They decided to do it on Dynamite. It lasts all of 3 minutes. Moxley wins the world title, and then they set up for All Out, in which CM Punk he wins back the AEW World Heavyweight Championship.
Useless fucking match.
Very predictable, and honestly, I can't speak for everyone because Chicago loves their CM Punk.
Chicago sucks.
I think you screamed into your hat.
You did.
Especially for what happened after, but we'll say that just for a second because something else happens after this match. So bullcrap. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Punk should have never won the belt.
No.
Punk should have never been in a company.
Because the thing is, if Punk would have kept what he had said, where he was like, I just want to work with this new, young talent, then why would there ever be a need for him to ever win the world title?
Now he just don't want to put young talent over.
The match, I don't even know how long this match was. It was definitely a little bit longer than some of the other matches, but it still... Did it even pass 10 minutes? Do we know?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
probably between like 12, 15 minutes.
Okay,
like
so...
range.
But for a main
Maxing
event...
out maybe 20.
But for a main event, that's not...
What it should be.
That's not what it should be.
I don't think the last couple main events have been good. Have they?
Well, the fact that Punk's been in the last two just kind of...
Well,
puts
Punk
it at
versus
point.
Hangman wasn't half that of a match. It was kind of just the ending and the botches that Punk kept doing, which
Yeah.
probably injured his foot a little bit extra.
Yeah.
But this match was just weird, and it was weak because you already knew how it was going to end. And I don't know if Moxley, did he come out the heel tunnel too?
Moxley came out the crowd.
Yeah.
He did come out of the crowd, you're right. Well, that's not a heel thing to do. I forgot he does that.
Well,
I thought he went through
if you're in the Shield,
yeah, if you're the Shield.
it is a heel thing to do. But
Yeah, I forgot he went through the crowd. But Punk wins. I mean, I would say I feel bad for not talking about it much, but it's CM Punk. I don't care that much. After that,
honest to God, no one's really here. If they're watching this, they didn't click it to hear about the actual match. They care about the aftermath.
So, real quick, after the match, CM Punk celebrating, doing whatever he freaking wants to do, because, you know, he can. And the Joker gets announced in a weird, I didn't like it, but the weird, like, audio talking about Tony Khan asking him to come back.
Paying him whatever he wanted.
Didn't have to sign a new contract. They played a small video of CM Punk from ROH, and the Joker is, if you didn't know, MJF. He's back. Yeah, the devil is back.
Everything gets ruined.
So it was really cool to see MJF back because it's been quite a few months, and it was really cool because, I mean, he was the talk of the town for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And actually, this wasn't the biggest thing that happened, which it should have been. It should have been.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Well, you could Wardlow could have said the same thing, but
Yeah.
well, so yeah, so that happens, and that's how the pay-per-view ends. Now, if you know this already, you know that the drama didn't end there. But if you didn't, you're in for a treat. As Dalton was talking about earlier, after the AEW pay-per-views, they have like little press conferences, and they have interviewers ask the questions to the wrestlers, if they're
like
basketball or UFC, anything like that. And you know, there were other wrestlers that did it other than him, but CM Punk went on there, and instead of really answering anyone's questions, he went on his own little rant.
I think the first person that he called out, like he pointed out, he didn't even get to ask a question. I don't think, and it was a guy that knew Colt Cabana, I think, and he purposely pointed him out and started a rant.
I'm sure we're gonna dissect this one, but
I don't know.
This was extremely unprofessional, and it's away from everything that he talked about prior when it talked about wanting to work with young talent, wanting to surround himself with this talent that he should have 10 years prior.
Oh.
And he took away everything he said before this in this, and it made him sound extremely immature. Do you have kind of Max, do you have where kind of what he talked about?
Yeah, I got it pulled up right here. This says, it's quoted from CM Punk. The fact that I have to sit up here because we have irresponsible people who call themselves EVPs and couldn't f***ing manage Target, and they spread lies and bullshit and put it into a medium that I got Colt Cabana fired when I have all to do with him. A few moments later, Punk would ask, what did I ever do in this world to deserve an empty-headed f***ing dumb like Hangman Page to go out on national television and f***ing go into business for himself? What did I do? And this just stemmed from a question of, how he felt about what had been going on, and someone asked about Colt Cabana.
Well, Colt Cabana and CM Punk used to be like best friends.
Yeah.
And someone had asked about him because it just so happened to seem like when CM Punk joined the company, Colt Cabana disappeared.
He did.
And
another Dark Order member that disappeared, by the way.
yeah, but
Yeah,
not actually
honestly,
but
yeah.
actually not released.
Well, officially.
Officially.
No, we know.
It's clear. It's obvious that it was Punk
He pulled
that
strings.
Punk is the reason that Colt Cabana is not on TV. Now, I'm not saying Colt Cabana is world championship material. I'm not saying, but he's a part of a faction that is in dire need right now of people to be in the team, and he's just not there because I'm assuming CM Punk. I don't think Hangman did go into business for himself, but I guess that's an opinion. I just think, I don't know, it just seems like Punk's just
A punk.
I don't know what else.
Yeah.
He's done nothing but bitch and complain ever since he's gotten back.
Yes. And after this conference, he made the statements about the EVPs, which are Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks.
Oh, and he said a lot more than what we went into. Like,
Yes, there were points
It
in
was
which
so
there were points in
stupid.
which Tony Khan was being asked questions that had nothing to do with CM Punk or Hangman, EVPs, Colt Cabana, none of that. Just asked about like, how do you feel about the show tonight? Do you think it was a good show? And he'd be like, yeah. And then Punk would just stop and be like, oh yeah. Also, did you know Colt Cabana shared an account with his mother?
Yeah.
Shows you how broke he is. Ha ha ha. And it's just like, no one's talking to you.
And on multiple occasions, he went and he apologized multiple times for CM Punk.
It's funny because on the last few press conferences and stuff that they've had for AEW, for any of the pay-per-views that Punk's been involved with so far, Khan's been with Punk whole entire time. Just really rooting him on.
Table with him.
Yeah, just rooting him on. This time that was not the case.
Tony looked like he didn't even want to be with him.
Yeah,
After
I mean,
what he said.
in all honesty, he's the freaking boss. He could have told him to stop. He could have told him to leave. He could have fired him right then and there.
Yeah.
He didn't.
And the fact that, apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, CM Punk's rant was planned
Yeah.
by
I did see
Punk.
that.
Like, it was scripted by him. He rehearsed it.
He
and
had it ready
It was
to go.
not on the fly.
No.
He knew it was coming. He knew he was going to do.
Yeah.
Which shows the pettiness of CM Punk. And just shows that he purposely pointed out who he was going to say what to and how he was going to respond to certain questions.
Right. After this press conference happened, reports say that there was an actual fight that broke out backstage at the arena. I think this involved. Who did it involve? All because it's a lot of names.
Right here it is listed that an altercation began when Punk took swings at Matt Jackson, who allegedly was followed by a steel chair being thrown at Nick Jackson in the eye and hitting him in the eye, as well as Ace Steel getting into it with Kenny Omega. There was also Pat Buck, Michael Nakazawa, Brandon Cutler, and Christopher Daniels involved.
Now, from the reports, it said that the Young Bucks apparently kicked down or tried to kick open CM Punk's door, and then the fight started, and then Ace Steel, who was one of Punk's friends, threw the chair at one of the Young Bucks, and then when Kenny Omega was trying to get
CM Punk's stupid dog
out of the room,
Hilarious.
Ace Steel bites Kenny Omega
And starts pulling his hair out.
Now,
if you want an unstable work environment, that's what AEW is.
and it's funny, it's sad, but it's funny that right before this, probably a couple of weeks prior, Tony Khan had to make a whole thing backstage because people got upset of the way that Tony Khan was running the company. In the sense of how he was acting backstage and saying pretty much...
He was a child.
He's acting like a child, and someone threatened to walk out. We don't know who it is. It never said who it was. It said top guy. That could have been anyone from Chris Jericho to FTR. I don't know. But this was right after that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and then this happens. It's like they figure out, okay, I think this is how we're going to do it, and Tony Khan's like, I'm gonna kind of let other people do things too. I'm not going to do it just me. And then this happens.
Pot boils over. It is said that the Bucks didn't actually kick down the door of Punk. It says that multiple sources say that they went to the door and they kind of just let themselves in, like knocked and went in on their own. And then before Matt Jackson could even say a word to Punk, Punk started throwing punches.
Right.
So he
Punk
started
Punk should remember his UFC days to know that he might not be able to knock out anyone.
Might not. He's never knocked out or tapped out anybody.
In real life, yes. So the funny thing about this is that as of right now, so CM Punk did get stripped of the world title, and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks got stripped of the trios titles. That's why we mentioned that Death Triangle is now the trios champions. As of recording, everyone in this situation has been suspended except for CM Punk and Ace Steel. That, I don't know if that has to do...
CM Punk is he's officially suspended.
it's listed.
Oh, it's officially?
Yeah, they are both suspicious.
Well, screw me. Who said
officially
that?
suspended. We talked about it earlier.
Oh, well, I guess I wasn't in the
It says
conversation.
Ace Steel is off the road, which means he's suspended too, basically.
Honestly, I would imagine
in the
that.
first place.
I would imagine that they'll fire Ace Steel.
I thought they should have.
Well, especially after there's a third-party investigation going on right now. There is no doubt in my mind that they will fire Ace Steel. One, I'm pretty sure he's the one that threw the chair.
He was. He threw the chair and hit Nick Jackson in the face.
He bit somebody and pulled his hair when he was trying to get an animal out of the room, so obviously he was defenseless.
He also got fined for the lead-up episode to All Out. He was fined.
Yeah, because he dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah, he dropped an F-bomb on TV, which is not allowed in AEW, so...
Well, that man's never been on TV, so he doesn't know what is allowed and not, because he's not important, and he never had a wrestling career.
And he's irrelevant and shouldn't be with the company.
Exactly. So
drama.
It's a lot of stuff that's going on. Not all of it's been resolved, I'd say, because like Dalton and Max were saying, third-party investigations going on. All I can say is that Punk should be fired, Ace Steel should be fired, and this is going to be one killer episode of Being the Elite when it happens.
Well, the bad thing is they already made an episode of Being the Elite where they were trying to like explain why CM Punk called out Hangman when Hangman wasn't even backstage. He wasn't at the show.
Yeah.
They tried to make I don't even know what it was that they did. They just tried to make an explanation out of it. And it was just everywhere, dude. It's not. CM Punk has caused more harm than good.
Oh, 100%. Especially to other people's careers.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's
to
not
his
even just,
own career.
Yeah, I mean it's just ridiculous.
It's been a year since he's came back to professional wrestling, and he's ruined it already by acting the way that he did in the past.
Yeah.
Not to the same extent, because there was other things, but still, he's ruined it for himself and other people.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how this is all going to play out. Because the thing is, as of right now, it's like, yes, everyone's suspended. We're good for right now. This week's episode of Dynamite and Rampage, not half bad. Some good stuff was going on. Which is a positive for the company because it's been going downhill for quite some time. I like to assume that was because of CM Punk stuff. So it's a good news to see that there's actually some more faces being shown on AEW right now. But the thing is this is a temporary solution. Because when the Bucks and Kenny come back, and when Punk comes back, because he's probably going to at this point.
He's having that surgery, so he's going to be
What's
out for a couple months.
What's going to happen?
Punk is going to sit out his contract. There's no doubt in my mind.
If he does come back, though, it's not like any of the problems are going to be solved. He's going to come back.
No one's going to want to work with him.
But you never know. You never know. Because I don't know what they're going to do. If he does... It's a big if. He does come back and he is not just going to sit out his contract. Who says he's not going to do the same thing?
He'll drop another pipe bomb, but on AEW this time.
Yeah, and except no one wants to hear it. That's the problem. See, 11 years ago, when he did the pipe bomb, it's kind of stuff that they wanted to hear, but he doesn't. No one wants to hear what he's talking about now, because honestly, the company's not the problem in AEW. He's the problem in AEW.
AEW is skyrocketing, and I will say it did skyrocket more when he came, but ever since he went into the title picture, it has plummeted.
I do feel, popularity-wise, AEW shot up when Punk came in. But, quality-wise, AEW was so much better before Punk came in. Before, they had to shut down and just do, like, the Daily's Place shows and stuff.
Yeah, for COVID.
That was an extremely well-timed for AEW. Like, when they started, maybe not popularity-wise, but the actual show quality, the best they ever had.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a company that just started. They didn't have any build-up other than word of mouth from the elite and stuff like that.
Social media.
Exactly. So, I mean, they got to go back to their roots, I'd say, and just kind of... That was back when it was, we're building up talent. It wasn't, we have...
What, their roots?
We don't
stealing
have...
talent from other companies and then blaming WWE for it?
It's not signing
Yeah,
big-name company stars that have been let go.
When you look back and you think of the beginning of AEW, I mean, people like Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, Joey Janela, MJF, I mean, those were the stars. I mean, don't get me wrong, they weren't like the top tier because you had Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, Chris Jericho, but without those stars, there wasn't an AEW because those were people that people had already seen before, but you didn't see people like that before.
You had to have new faces to keep people entertained. If you see the same faces, you're going to get the same matches.
And even when they started, the women's division was pretty strong because there really wasn't any people other than maybe Awesome Kong that people had really seen because you had Britt Baker, Kylie Ray when it first started. I mean, it was fresh. Yeah. And now it's just kind of, I mean, as Dalton puts it a lot, it's like new WCW. It's just stars from other companies that we've already seen before.
Hot garbage.
Yeah. When we had new, fresh faces, it was something different. And I think that's something they have to go back and look and figure out how to do it again. Because that's what they need.
Yeah. They need a revamp. Well, that sounds bad how early on in the company this is, but they do need a revamp. Because they had it so good when they first started, and then ever since they've just started re-signing people, or signing new talents, and here and there, not building their own, it's kind of just fell off.
They've already become WCW.
There is a chance for them to revive it, though. There really is a chance to get back on the right track. But in order for them to do that, Tony Khan's got to allow other people to take control.
Stay off the stuff.
And needs to... I think the thing is it's something that WWE gets critiqued for a lot, and the way it is now, rightfully so. Well, not now, but prior, Triple H, rightfully so. There's zero story in AEW. It's just wrestling.
Yes.
You have to have... There's got to be purpose why this wrestler is wrestling this wrestler. You know? And that doesn't mean you have to cut 20-minute promos during your show. WWE's done that. Especially the last, 12 years. A lot of it has just been a bunch of long promos that weren't needed. I understand that. But you have to have something. You know, you can't, even though I love them, you know, you can't have the Acclaim come out every week, throw out a couple bars, and then just wrestle and that's it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You have to have some story.
Yeah, like, hopefully now that MJF is back, there will be a big storyline that can keep people intrigued. Like before, when you had the Wardlow storyline, CM Punk, I think it was Darby Allin before that. It was like Brian Pillman Jr. All that. Like when you give MJF a mic, he'll make a story pop and keep people listening on what he's going to do next and keep them intrigued.
As much as I don't like one of them, in order for AEW to really take off again, and I know we had just talked about, like, you know, fresh faces, stuff like that, you have to look back at the pillars of AEW.
No.
I truly think that. You have to go and look at people like MJF, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara. I mean, those are faces that, like, really became stars when the company started.
Yeah.
And you have to not only take them to different places, but you also have to make something like that again.
Only one of them is even remotely close to being a star.
And who's that? MJF?
MJF, that's it.
I think Darby Allin has potential, but what happened? And Jungle
Darby
was
Allin
phenomenal.
has no potential.
And not Darby Allin, sorry. Jungle Boy's phenomenal, but, you know, hopefully
He's
maybe
be on the screen for a while.
Maybe we can get a solo run with him, and who knows? But any final thoughts?
AEW. What was the pay-per-view? All Out.
Yes.
Not the company, just the pay-per-view. It was not good.
Screw CM Punk.
Overall.
Yeah. CM Punk and his dog.
Well, I guess that concludes this episode of the LED podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and listen to us on the other platforms we have. We're on YouTube, Google Podcast, Podbean. Please follow us on our Instagram at LADo_wrestling podcast. And our other podcast, we also have Instagram for that, is at LADo_podcast. I am Clinton. You can follow me at ClintonWells2001.
I'm Dalton. You can follow me at Instagram at LADoBrand.
And I'm Max. You can follow me at Max Mooney.
That will conclude this episode of the LED podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you guys later.
Okay, I have merit to say what I said because the last podcast, the Money in the Bank, got 4 views, so you. And the MJF one got 17, so suck my f***ing The highest viewed one of the highest viewed ones that we've had was the MJF one, because it was 17.
It's because I'm in it.
That is
like
true.
The WrestleMania one had 29, and that was the highest viewed other than the first 2 episodes.
Maybe it's because
So
Chance
it's like-
was in it.
Who knows? We'll see after this.
So I have merit to say, suck my f***ing you forgot you didn't watch the last one. So 17 to 4. Come on. What the actual
We're not talking about our views right now.
fucking regular podcast, Spider-Man No Way Home, had fucking 31 views. I mean, for fuck's sake. The fucking regular podcast has done exponentially better in views, and yet somehow I'm a fucking dumbass because I see in the last 3 fucking thumbnails I decided to not do the logo white with fucking black backgrounds. So, fuck me. Alright. Me going on a rant is not going in it, but...
Yes, it is.